The Gitrog monster versus Maelstrom Wanderer. Let's see whose hand is fastest. We'll go into a... Yeah, I think we'll go into a turn 1 Sol Ring. And we can try and demonic tutor for any answers for our opponent. We're probably just going to play land ramp, but they might get into some kind of artifact ramp as well. So, oh, and a wasteland, so that deals with that. Yeah, so we can get rid of some artifact ramp with Reclamation Sage, and yeah, tutor into anything else that we might need. So we'll just pass the turn there. Looking for a... I don't know if we'll play the Gitrog monster next turn, because I find that if you play Gitrog with less than 4 or 5 lands, then you can be really unlucky and not draw into any lands to replace the ones that you're killing with Gitrog. We might do it. We have a couple of lands in hand, so, and we can play an additional land on each of our turns with Gitrog, but we do have Explosive Vegetation, so I'm going to fix our green mana with that. And probably play out the Barren Moor. Yeah, I was going to say, if our library decides to load up, that is. Get 2 forests out and play the Barren Moor and pass turn over to our opponent. Looks like we're getting on for a Gitrog next turn. And we can attempt to keep our opponent off of mana for the Maelstrom Wanderer, which is a scary card. It's a 7/5 and it gives all creatures you control haste. Then it cascades twice. So you can whiff with Maelstrom Wanderer, but you can also get into some really good free cards. And it costs 5, 6, 7, 8, so that would be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So with a land drop next turn, our opponent can get down Maelstrom Wanderer. How much land do we have? We have 2, 4, 6, 8 mana. That's 5, 6, 7, 8. So we can get down Rex Sage and Gitrog. So I think we're going to do just that. Want to get rid of that Thran Dynamo to slow down our opponent. And it's actually as slow a start as you usually see from Maelstrom Wanderer, which is lucky for us. Don't scoop. Every time there's a pause on the stack there, I always assume that our opponent is going to scoop, because it happens so often on Magic. You can get new games going so quickly on Magic Online that opponents just scoop and get a new game going within seconds. So it doesn't bode well for recording. But yeah, the Gitrog monster is a 6/6 for 5 mana with Death Touch, and at the beginning... What are you doing, stack? And at the beginning of your upkeep, you sack the Gitrog monster unless you sacrifice a land in its place. You may play an additional land on each of your turns, and whenever a land is put into your graveyard from anywhere, you draw a card. That's 1 or more lands, so you can't ditch 3 lands at the same time and draw 3 cards. But that's no real downside. And Grim Monolith is effectively a slightly worse Thran Dynamo, depending on how you look at it. We will go for... I think we'll kill the Tranquil Thicket here, because we have 2 green sources in addition to the Tranquil Thicket when our opponent decides to give us priority. But I think if it allows us to, I think we will... No, it doesn't allow us to. I think we passed priority too soon there. I could have tapped that for green mana along with the Sol Ring and got a Cross and Grip off on the Grim Monolith, but not to worry. We'll crack the Evolving Wilds and see if we draw into a more useful land. Luckily we see what we draw into before we decide what land we want. No, we get into a landfall card, so I think we just go for a swamp there, so that we're on our way to making the Cabal Coffers useful. And how much mana do we have? 3, 4, 5 and 6. Do we want to Demonic Tutor for anything? It might be worth using this turn to get rid of some kind of artifact hate. Or something like that. Or we could just go for an Urborg. Yeah, do I mind going for Urborg? I don't think so. Although Urborg doesn't get us any new cards either. What to do? I don't normally like tutoring for things before. Vorinclex would be good actually. That would really trouble our opponent. So I think what we'll do is go for the Vorinclex there and just swing into our opponent. I haven't had a look at these non-basic lands yet. I don't recognise them. We have Skyline Cascade. When it enters the battlefield it does something, so it's already done that. And Mana of any colour, that's just mana filtering, so don't care about either of those to be honest. Although we can kill them if we're scared of our opponent getting down a Maelstrom Wanderer. Yeah, so I think next turn we have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. We can get down the Vorinclex, and that will really slow down our opponent because it will put their lands to sleep. So I think that is what we're going to do. We're going to have to kill the Cabal Coffers, I think, in order to do that, because if we don't draw into any lands that replace whatever we kill with Gitrog, then we won't have enough mana to play the Vorinclex. And as it happens, we draw into 2 lands, so that's absolutely fine. So Vorinclex hopefully doesn't get countered, but we'll have to see. There we go. And then that is 2, 4, 6 mana. We can get down a Rampaging Baloths as well. Our opponent does not have counter magic, which means we can get down the Rampaging Baloths. So now any land that we play, we get a 4/4 beast token, and any land that our opponent taps goes to sleep for a turn. So hopefully our opponent is sitting on 6 mana, so it's not like we're going to see a Cyclonic Rift. And even if they do tap out to cast that type of effect, it will mean that they can't do anything on their turn. Let's see what our opponent does now. 5 cards in hand, and I think we've successfully managed to, with these 2 cards gone, we've managed to slow down our opponent sufficiently. It's really all you can do against Maelstrom Wanderer. You also don't tend to want to kill Maelstrom Wanderer because they usually can just recast it straight away. And yeah, GG to our opponent. That's the tactic you want to use against Maelstrom, is if it gets out onto the battlefield, try not to kill it, try and use something like a Song of the Dryads, that type of effect, pacifism. It giving your opponent's creatures haste can be relevant, but yeah, if you kill it, they can just usually recast it and then they get even more value. So if you can't keep Maelstrom Wanderer off the battlefield, at least try not to kill it, but once it's out it can be really difficult to deal with, so you just need to run artifact and enchantment removal, really, particularly artifact removal as we showcased here. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Didn't really show off Gitrog, but it did show you how to deal with Maelstrom Wanderer, so I hope it's at least of some use to someone. I will continue to try and get a good video with the Gitrog monster and show off what he can do. And thank you all for watching. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you.